Hi everyone, I'm Naesoj Ware, a senior at the John D. O'Brien School of Mathematics and Science, and the seventh recipient of the ALKU Scholarship. I'm so appreciative to be here with you today, Mark. How are you?
Hello, Naesoj. I'm so excited to be with you, and congratulations on being the recipient of our scholarship. We're excited to have you, and once again, we are so pleased with our choice. You clearly are the type of person that we go after when we're looking for this scholarship. So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. Now, if I could ask you a few questions, if that would be okay with you.
I can't wait. I look forward to this.
Okay, so the first question is, as we continue to be in a pandemic, why do you think mentoring is important?
That question, I saw these questions beforehand, and I love that question because a lot of people don't realize how much being disconnected from people affects us. And while Zoom is a nice way to connect, and it has certainly been a great substitute to that in-person connection, it's just not the same. And while mentoring can happen in a virtual setting and still be productive and effective, it gives more opportunity for more connection. And I think the general population has suffered, not just people who might find themselves in need of mentoring, but the entire population has suffered from this disconnect that many of us feel on a day in and day out basis. And I know I myself miss the hump and the thump in the office, and to see other people and be able to talk to them and be involved and be engaged. And throughout, I think the whole country, we've seen an increased demand for mental health services, and I don't think that it's a coincidence that demand started to creep up just as we all found ourselves staring at computer screens instead of staring at another set of eyes. And that has created a bigger need out there in the landscape that mentoring does a really good job of addressing.
I definitely agree that there is a disconnect as a result of the pandemic, and I do agree that mentoring does help that. The next question is, how has your relationship grown with your personal mentors, and how has that contributed to your life?
Yeah, I got really lucky, Naesoj. When I first started working, I found people that at first they appeared as friends, right? And maybe a boss here and there, but at first they appeared as friends, and friends that I really admired and looked up to. And it wasn't until I'd been around them for probably 18 or 24 months that I realized that I was learning a lot from them. And beyond just learning from them, I was being challenged, not so much by them, but the challenge was internally, because I wanted to be as good as them. I thought maybe if they can do it, I can do it. And I think that's something that I really got fortunate to find and have, and people that I'm still friendly with, and they still, those people still challenge me, sometimes in very sort of a tame and mild ways, like maybe on the golf course, I get to enjoy some time with them and want to be as good as they are. Or maybe it's in more meaningful ways when I see the ways that they interact with their community or their family, and I say, geez, that's something I can learn from and bring to my own life. And I've been really, really fortunate in that regard. But there's one other part of this question that I just want to talk about, that I think sometimes as mentees, people don't realize the way that the mentor-mentee relationship really works. I know that I've been a mentor for people, and I get as much out of that experience as I think they do, and quite often more. And it isn't in the helping that really I get something, it's in the learning. And I see and am able to relate to a little bit of what's going on in their life, and then hear myself so readily be able to give advice about something going on in someone else's life, but then say, geez, what about my life? Like, how can I apply that same thing? So I think the mentor relationship is so productive for both sides of that equation. And that doesn't get talked about a lot in the mentoring community, but it is really so beneficial.
Yes, I agree. I think it's so important that you mentioned that too, that learning from your mentor as well as teaching your mentor, it's like the thing that happens on both sides of the relationship. So I heard an amazing poem, and it's called Miracle of Morning by Amanda Gorman. And the poem lines read: So ensure that this ache wasn't endured in vain. Do not ignore the pain, give it purpose and use it. So, how do you think mentoring gives you purpose?
Yeah, I am familiar with that poem, and I love that you're inspired by that. And there's a line that I heard recently within the last year that I think about a lot. And someone said, "If you live your life the right way, your darkest moments can become your biggest attributes." And I think that poem sort of captures the same sentiment, or the line from the poem captures the same sentiment, in that if we take those moments where we are in trouble or hurt or harmed, and direct them towards constructive opportunity to help, that maybe we're on a path to do more, do better, do good. And I know from my own experience that when I'm thinking about how's Mark doing, I'm probably not doing too well. But when I'm instead directed elsewhere and towards others, and focused on how are things going with Naesoj, how are things going with my coworkers, how are things going with my family, and can I do anything to enrich that? Mark will be okay if Mark's thinking that way. So I don't need to worry about me. But if I worry about trying to help others, miraculously, things always seem to work out for the best, or at least better. I shouldn't say the best, because it's not always the best, right? But things work out better for those with whom I'm involved, and that's I think how this is supposed to work.
Definitely. I heard a similar quote actually, and it said that a star can't shine without darkness. And I thought it was good because it kind of emphasizes the fact that you always need like a dark time, or it's not always going to be great times, but that's where you become the strongest and give like gain the most purpose. And what that leads me to the next question, which is, how has mentorship changed your view on multiculturalism and generationalism?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I'll go back to the opportunity for learning that happens on both sides of the equation. And to be open-minded in our approaches, and to understand that sometimes, I use an example from my business, that maybe to make this point, but sometimes the responsibility that is needed to be played is not so obvious. And the example that I'll use is this: that for years at ALKU, I believed that hiring the right person, regardless of race, or what their role was, or what their background was the right approach for ALKU. And while I still believe that, what I've since learned, and the responsibility that ALKU plays in making sure that the multicultural opportunity is available, is okay, but how are those people getting access to ALKU? Is it the same amount of work and effort and diligence required to get access for every candidate? And what we discovered is that it was not. And it was our opportunity to create equal opportunity for everybody to get that same access, not just equal opportunity for those that happen to be lucky enough or fortunate enough to get there, to get the consideration. And while that's a subtle change from a concept, it's a major change from action. And I really attribute this change at ALKU to things that I picked up, and others in the company picked up through our mentoring efforts, as we heard some of the challenges and struggles that people faced when going out there in the working world. And so I think that, just an example, that isn't the only thing, but that's the type of stuff, and that's the type of I guess awareness that has grown as a result of some of these different personalities and mindsets coming together.
Yes, that was a great example. Thank
Okay.
you. And the last question is, how have you benefited from being different from your mentor, and how has that added to value to your life?
Yeah, I would say that some of the best lessons that I picked up are when I learned, instead of learning about a topic or a situation, I learned about myself and how I approached the world and how I could be more effective, or maybe with my previous, before this lesson, approach was less effective, right? And I think in some ways, a good mentoring relationship, part of that becomes a mirror, right? That I see how I'm projecting to the world because my mentor knows me so well and can ask the right questions to make me take pause and realize, like, okay, wait a sec, maybe the problem isn't all the other people I'm encountering. Maybe the problem is here, and I think that's the true key for at least for me, for what I've learned over time, is that yes, I've been fortunate, as I mentioned, to have some great mentors, and they've taught me a lot about the world and business and concepts and situations. But the most meaningful lessons have been those where I learn more about Mark, and then Mark becomes more effective in trying to go out and live a life that has some purpose in it, of which mentoring can be a real key part.
Definitely. Thank you so much. All of those answers were so amazing, so thoughtful.
Well, they're great questions. So you set me up to sound great with your really well thought out questions. So I appreciate that. So I think now we transition to the fun part. I get to ask you some questions, right?
Yes.
So I know one of the things that stood out to us about your application was that you seemed to have a lot of direction and purpose and knew what you were after, and also understood exactly what you were up against to get there. But has the now that you've won the scholarship, has this impacted your life and those aspirations that you pointed out to us?
Yes, most definitely. ALKU has definitely helped in the financial aspect, but what I always tell everyone after winning the scholarship is that the mentorship that's behind the ALKU scholarship is going to be, and has been already, so helpful. Just being able to call different people that are connected with ALKU and mass mentorship has honestly been great and most definitely beneficial. Being able to know that I can call them not only to find other financial resources, but just for educational resources, whether or not that's finding a school or committing to a school, just different decisions that I'm going to have to make and that are being put forth. Knowing that I have that support system is great. And then obviously the financial help is amazing, considering that before I had no money to go to college, so I'm going in blindfolded. What am I going to do? And now I have somewhere to start, knowing that that's going to help me accumulate, other financial resources to pursue my education.
Well, that's great. Great answer, Naesoj. We're so excited to watch your progress and watch you continue your journey. So it's good to hear that all those plans that you had not only are in place, but even more solidified now. So again, going back to your application, one of the things that impressed us so much about you is that you had started a mentoring program for young girls. And how did you? Why was this important to you? How did you go about doing it? And how is it working out? How's that whole? Tell us about that experience.
So starting this mentorship program was so important to me because being a young African American woman from the Boston area, I always felt like I was limited because of my demographics. So we lacked opportunity. And we just lacked options and choices. I was always expected to go to a state school and to, do things that were just right in my community. I was never expected to explore my horizons. And that's honestly what I wanted to do for these young girls. Having mentors along the way, having internships, that's what got me to the place that I am today. And that's what's given me the opportunity to just seek and envision a better future for myself. And I just couldn't imagine other girls not having the same access to the opportunities that I had. And so that was the inspiration behind starting this program. And as far
Wow.
as how it's going great. We just got some more funding from different community members. We're partnering with State Representative China Tyler, who's come on board and just given us so many resources and offered to help, which is going to be great. We're actually going to be running a vacation program. So it's going to be girls on vacation, which is going to be
Oh
super
boy.
fun. Yeah, I
Well,
know. We're gonna have an opportunity to add more girls because right now we have a cap due to COVID and due to our space. So we're gonna have an opportunity to help more girls from all different areas in the Roxbury area, the Dorchester area, and we're gonna be able to talk about career things, college things, high school things, so many things that these girls are gonna benefit from and may not have otherwise if it wasn't for this program.
wow. Wow, that's great. That's great. That really is a great story, and the initiative required to do that is just once again proof that you have such a bright future ahead of you, and to see the passion and fire in your eyes when you're talking about that is really inspiring. So nice job on that.
Thank you.
So you've already done a lot to help your community, but again, you're one of the things that ALKU is so excited about, with so many now people that we've delivered this scholarship to, that each one of them talks about how they want to help their community. And that's exciting to think about, that hey, we're helping to play a part in others that are helping to play their part and helping still others. And I know that that's been something you've talked about to us a few different times, but could you just explain a little bit, like how you plan to pay it forward and how you plan to take advantage of the opportunities that you receive and try to lift others up along the way?
Definitely. So specifically with the ALKU Scholarship, I plan on pursuing four-year education at a four-year college. Hopefully that'll be Howard University, but we haven't heard back yet. But I've received so many other acceptances, so I'm definitely grateful for that. So I'll be planning on going to a four-year university and studying political science, which is going to be super fun and help me pursue my long-term goal of becoming a lawyer in marginalized communities. And as far as paying it forward right now, because I'm definitely a firm believer in the present, just like with my girls program, obviously making sure that other young women and other young men have access and opportunities, access to the opportunities that I have. And as far as in the future, just making sure that there's more opportunities as such, because I feel like we need more community members and more businesses to come together and partner to make sure that our students and youth have access to financial resources, mentoring resources, and so much more.
Wow. Well, that's great, Naesoj. I mean, very inspiring. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up, and you already know. So really, really great. Good for you. And, once again, I just so impressed and proud of you already. I can't wait to see the rest of your story unfold. And I know that at some point in the future, you'll be looking at an ALKU scholarship recipient and saying, remember when, and feeling like you're in an opportunity to help him or her advance their own situation too. And that's just so inspiring. So thanks for sharing with me, and thanks for answering my questions.
Definitely. Thank you to you too. And thank you to everybody at ALKU and Matt's mentorship. I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
Well, it's been great. And the partnership between ALKU and Mass Mentoring has been fantastic. And we're excited to have you here. And thanks again.
Thank you so much, Mass Mentoring Partnership and ALKU.